Hello there and welcome to a new video which isn't going to feature a great many times, but it will do over the course of the season, especially when we get near the end of the season as well. And it is called Who is Going Down? Now we're going to look at the bottom three and the teams that are around them in the Premier League and sort of try to predict who's going to be going down, and are some of them already a bit of a done deal. Let me know who you think is going to be going down in the Premier League this season, and maybe even say why as well if you can. Let me know what you think if you've watched them as well. I know that this is primarily focused on Liverpool most of the time, but I feel like it's something good to talk about anyway. So we're going to look at the bottom three as it stands right now, which is in 20th it is Norwich City with 3 wins. Wow, 3 wins, 5 draws and 13 losses. In 19th, Watford. Now they have 4 wins, 7 draws and 10 losses. Now Norwich are on 14 points, Watford are on 19, Bournemouth are on 20 points, and they have 5 wins, 5 draws and 11 losses. So again, Norwich look like they're going to be the ones that are struggling the most. Is it said and done for Norwich? Let me know what you think of that one in the comments below, because when Norwich first came into the Premier League, their first game in the league was against Liverpool, and yes, they got beat 4-1 by us, but they actually played really well. And when I finished watching that game, I was like, they've come up against Liverpool. We are going to be up at the top battling, for hopefully going for a title and competing in like the Champions League and stuff like that. They've come up against the European champions at that point, and we weren't world champions yet. And I think it was actually the game before we played the Super Cup, so we hadn't won that yet either. But still, they came up against the European champions. We'd done really, really well the previous season, a very strong team. It was going to be a difficult game for Norwich, but they actually played really good football. It sounds strange to say, like when you beat a team 4-1, but they played good football, good passing moves, good counter-attacks. Pukki scored a goal in that game as well, the one goal that they did score. And they look like a threat. And my first thing was, these guys are going to be trouble for anyone that they come up against, like up and down the league. They've beaten Man City, they've beaten Tottenham this year, and whoever their other win is against, I don't actually know who it's against, but they've beaten 2 big teams there, Man City being the champions, and Tottenham, who are always normally like a top 6, top 4 contender. Like, they've beaten some big teams, some big names. And for whatever reason, it's just not worked out for them. I don't know whether it's been down to injuries, but I remember the Man City game, they had almost an entire first team out injured. I don't know where it's gone wrong for Norwich, and I've watched quite a few of Norwich's games, and they still play good football, good counter-attacking football, but also good possession football as well, which is what they possessed in the Championship. And they do cause problems. Is it literally a case of their defence isn't good enough, or their goalkeeper's not good enough? Or is it more of a case of, do they have a plan B? Are they playing the same way that they play like they have at the start of the season, and they're just not moving away from it? People might figure it out, or they have figured it out. And is that literally what it is? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is it dead and buried for Norwich now, though? They have 14 points in the league, right? They are 7 points away from safety, which is Aston Villa's position as 17th on 21 points. Is it, I know there's let me think. There's another 17 games in the league for them to go. I don't know. Is it already a done deal for Norwich and that's it? They're going down. Let me know what you think. I think they're the ones that are going to struggle the most for some reason. Watford, on the other hand, were the team that I felt were dead and buried. And there is another team I'll mention later on as well. They were dead and buried for me right up until they brought in Nigel Pearson. He's done a fantastic job since he's been in there. And maybe it is just a case of still a little bit of new manager bounce. But I think Troy Deeney's come out and said he's got us working really, really hard. He's really instilled in us the will to work hard for each other. And you know what? They're not just playing hoof the ball up front and just aim for, just try and score goals by playing long ball football. They're actually playing some really good attacking football, Watford. His first game in charge was against Liverpool, and honestly, Watford had been getting tanked left, right, and centre in the league, and then they came against Liverpool with new manager Nigel Pearson. They played really well. If they actually got most of their targets, or they were a bit more clinical in front of goal, they would have put us in massive amounts of trouble. They really would have. The fact we come out of that game 2-0 winners was nothing short of miraculous in the end, because they played really well. They've beaten Manchester United. I think they've drawn against a big team, can't remember who, but they've won. They've been on quite a bit of a winning streak at the moment, and I actually think that Watford can get out of this. I think that Watford have got a manager that's instilling the mentality in them that they can get out of this. And I think the players are starting to believe it as well. You're looking at like Troy Deeney looks like a man possessed when he plays for Watford now. Dale Lefeu looks like the star player that Ismaila Sarr or whatever his name is. He looks like a very, very good player for them now as well. Looks like he's actually getting an opportunity under this manager. And even in midfield, like Doucouré looks like a man possessed as well. Like he's just, it looks really like positive signs for Watford that they can actually escape relegation. And I actually believe that they will. Now we're going to move on to Bournemouth, who have 20 points. This could be the season where it breaks. Eddie Howe has done a fantastic job with Bournemouth over the last couple of seasons. Since they've been in the Premier League, to be fair, he's done a fantastic job with that team. They normally play really good football, nice attacking football. They normally give all the big teams quite a lot of trouble. Quite hard to figure out sometimes, and sometimes I think they used to get taken for granted. This season, it just seems like something has deflated from Bournemouth, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if I want to click into Bournemouth at the moment and see what their squad is like, and if they've got any injuries or anything like that. Can't see anything at the moment. Might be looking at the wrong bit anyway. But I think regardless, to be honest, it's just been a bit of a strange time for Bournemouth, I think I can maybe see from here. Right, so they've got 8 players that are injured. Yeah, that's going to make a difference. That is going to make a difference when you've got like Nathan Ake, David Brooks, Charlie Daniels, Josh King, Adam Smith. I don't know the other guys a great deal. Lloyd Kelly, Jack Stacey, Arnaud Danjuma. I don't know who that is. But they've got a lot of players that are out injured. But if we're going to be honest, quite a few teams have at the moment. And maybe this is where you start to see the limits of Bournemouth, is the sheer fact that do they have the resources to go and supplement the squad that they've got to get themselves, going again in the Premier League? Will they do any business in January? It's been quite a quiet January so far. I mean, we're not that far into January at the moment, to be honest. I think it's only the 7th of January right now. So there's still time to do stuff, but do they actually even have like the finances available to go and bring in additional players and stuff like that? I'm not entirely sure. Is this going to be the season that sees Bournemouth not escape relegation? Because Bournemouth have a thing of like they normally start a season really, really well, and then they sort of like break down midway through and then pick it back up near the end of the season. At the moment, with 5 wins, 5 draws, and 11 losses, was it? Let me just have a look here again. Yeah, with that record, a minus 12 goal difference and only 20 points at this point, there's still time for them to pick up the points they need. But now they've got a very resurgent Watford coming through, and then you've also got to look at, and Watford I think will escape relegation, and then you've also got teams like, are Aston Villa worse than them? Probably not, but they're not really showing anything different. West Ham have brought David Moyes in. He looks like he could actually reinvigorate West Ham, because West Ham were one of the teams that I was looking at that were going to get pulled into relegation and they weren't going to escape it. Now it looks like they might actually be able to push themselves further away and go into mid-table. I don't really know. Are there much worse teams? Southampton ages ago were looking like they were going to get relegated, but now they're sat 12th. Newcastle, they're sat in 13th as well. Brighton, 14th. They play good football. 15th, Burnley. Are these teams bad enough to get sucked into a relegation battle? I don't think so. I think personally, Watford will escape relegation. I think Norwich are going down. I think Bournemouth are going down, and it'll be a real shame if they do. And at the moment, I think Aston Villa could be as well, because their record isn't as bad as Bournemouth's, obviously, but they're only 1 point better off than Bournemouth right now. And I don't know if Aston Villa have got the quality to get themselves out of the position that they're in right now. And it would mean that my prediction would see 2 promoted teams get relegated, and Bournemouth would be the team that follows them as well. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Who do you think is going to get relegated, and who do you think's got enough to get out of this relegation situation? Have Watford actually got enough to get out of this situation, or will they stay in there? Let me know what you think in the comments below. It's a brand new sort of video, and hopefully you enjoy it anyway and get some nice thoughts and stuff like that in the comments below. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do like it and subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you once again, and I will catch you later.